Hey everyone, it's been almost a year since Samsung released their hyper-successful Galaxy S8 phones. And after months of leaks and anticipation, we finally have the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. Of the two, the Galaxy S9 Plus seems to be more evolved thanks to the inclusion of the secondary telephoto camera. But is there more to this story? Is the high price tag actually worth it? I'm Angie for GSM Marina, and this is our Galaxy S9 Plus review. Like I said, looks-wise, the Galaxy S9 Plus isn't shockingly different from its predecessors. But that's no surprise. Why would Samsung completely scrap one of their most successful and beautiful designs? Still, if you look carefully, there are some cosmetic differences. On the back, there's now a vertical double camera setup and a fingerprint reader right below it, where your finger naturally lands. This is a huge improvement to the S8 lineup's ridiculous placement of the fingerprint reader. The phone also feels better in the hand. Since the sides are more angular and the curve of the edges is less pronounced, it doesn't feel like you're trying to type on a bar of soap. Palm rejection is way better and typing is actually comfortable. This, by the way, is coming from a person who spent a weekend trying to get used to the S8 and then put it aside for fear of destroying it in frustration. Speaking of frustration, Bixby is back, and if it's not your thing, you can disable the Bixby button from the get-go and just use it as a stress relief button. The S9 Plus is still a glass sandwich, but with a glass that's 20% thicker and a stronger aluminum inside. It might survive a fall or two, but it's super prone to micro scratches, and we already picked up a few over the course of our review. Thankfully, there's an IP68 rating, so it'll be pretty hard for you to drown it. The 6.2-inch AMOLED display seems the same as last year. It's large and it's bright and it's absolutely gorgeous. And rejoice, there's no notch. Samsung produces the screens for many top devices, so naturally they save the best tech for themselves. The S9 Plus has an excellent resolution and pixel density for its size, but more importantly, its color rendering is fantastic. It's plenty bright too. Of course, all these are about the same as on the S8 Plus. However, the media consumption experience is made even better thanks to the new addition of stereo speakers. Sound is louder and clearer with much better bass. The S9 Plus is one of the few flagships left with a headphone jack intact. And if wireless headphones are your thing, well, Oreo includes high-quality audio codecs. There is also the option of making a personalized sound profile, which works with both wired and wireless headphones. If having a local music library is your thing, internal storage goes up to 256 GB, and with the microSD slot, you're potentially looking at having a crazy 656 GB of storage on your phone. Depending on your market, the S9 Plus may come with either the Snapdragon 845 or the Exynos 9810, making it one of the fastest phones around. Playing games is a breeze, and you won't notice a slowdown even with 15 apps open, thanks to the 6 GB of RAM. However, it does get warm when using the camera for a longer period of time. The 3500 mAh battery lets the S9 Plus last longer than its smaller sibling, but it's a bit behind what the S8 Plus can provide. Furthermore, the fast charging is not among the fastest, and in half an hour you only get from 0 to 38% of the battery charged. At least wireless charging means that you can use any Qi charger lying around, including the faster 9-watt ones. The S9 Plus features Android Oreo with the latest Samsung Experience 9.0. Although Samsung's UI was once infamous for being bloated and slow, you can now delete any app you don't need and the UI is cleaner than ever before. For example, app shortcuts pop up with a long press, and the task switcher gives you the extra option of list view. Of course, a million hidden features and customization options remain, but they don't bog down day-to-day use. Beware though, the search and settings can be confusing, so you might want to dig in yourself. Honestly, most of the UI changes are pretty subtle. You can spice up the looks of the S9 Plus with edge lighting, transparent notifications, and new design and color options for the always-on display. Folders can be color-coded, and you can create app pair shortcuts for apps you often launch together. There is also support for dual messenger for those who need to manage multiple accounts. Instead of face or iris scanning, there's now an intelligent scan mode which combines the two. It's not as fast at unlocking as the OnePlus 5T, and it's pickier about how far away your face needs to be, but it's relatively accurate. Most notably, the camera app has seen a redesign, and now you just need to swipe to switch to a different camera mode. This makes experimenting with different features much easier. Speaking of, it's time to look at the main reason you might prefer upgrading to the S9 Plus versus anything else: the double camera setup. The main lens has a variable aperture that can go from f1.5 to f2.4, allowing it to better deal with different lighting extremes. The second telephoto camera is the same as the Note 8's. It allows for 2x optical zoom and better portraits. In daylight, photos are excellent with tons of detail, a great dynamic range, and no noise or noise artifacts. HDR seems to be always on regardless of what you set it to. Colors are more saturated than the Pixel 2 or the iPhone X, but that seems to be a trademark Samsung move at this point. In low light, images have lots of detail, little noise, and no blurry spots. With a variable aperture that drops to f1.5, the S9 Plus can shoot images with a low ISO. This means cleaner shots with fewer artifacts. It's well matched in comparison to the Pixel 2. While the S9 Plus has a narrower dynamic range, it has cleaner and sharper details. Which is better? Well, that depends on personal preference. As expected, portrait mode is better than the S9 and is almost identical to the Note 8's. However, the S9 Plus has notably better skin tones than the Note 8's yellow hues. The Telephoto S9 Plus seems to have difficulty with edge detection of inanimate objects. However, if you use the S9 Plus's telephoto lens at night, by turning it on in Pro mode, you can get some rather sharp zoomed shots, especially when comparing it to the competition. Videos have a great dynamic range, vivid colors, and an accurate white balance. They're free of noise, but they struggle with grass and foliage. We didn't notice any focusing issues, and there's OIS for both the wide and telephoto camera. However, turning on EIS makes the footage much smoother. The new killer feature for both the S9 and S9 Plus is the addition of 960 frames per second slow motion capture. As long as you're shooting in a well-lit area, you can get some great shots. However, for now, it's only in 720p. Selfies look great and have tons of detail. The portrait mode isn't too bad either, although it's not nearly as effective as the main shooter. Samsung has also included AR emoji in order to compete with Apple's Animoji. However, unlike Apple, Samsung seems to be stuck in the uncanny valley. And there you have it. The Galaxy S9 Plus is in an exclusive club of smartphones that barely have any cons. For once, you don't have to give anything up except for your hard-earned money, and maybe a kidney. However, the S9 Plus is Samsung's most expensive phone right now, and the new features it introduces barely make up for the difference in price compared to the S8 Plus or the Note 8. Sure, the updated chipset is a lot faster, and the stereo speakers sound great, but the older Galaxy phones will give you a lot more bang for your buck. This doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the S9 Plus, it's just not competitively priced right now. So maybe wait a month or two for the price to drop and then pick it up. And by the way, if you're curious about the little brother of the S9 Plus, the Galaxy S9, check out Will's video. It has a lot of the same features in a cheaper and smaller package. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe down below, and hit the little bell icon to get our latest tech reviews. See you next time.